Okay, we are live. So welcome everyone to this live coding session on the x402 or more. How are you, Ayush, today?
I'm doing good. We are back again after a single day of gap.
Nice. Yeah, hope there was some relaxing time in there. I'm excited for this live coding session. So we're going through like some kind of like X402. We already did multiple one for Dev Cook-Off, so we kind of like will go quite fast on the intro. But I think the goal here is that if you have any question about X402, we're building from scratch also some DApp. Yeah, let's get it started. How is looking the Dev Cook-Off like this? We are almost like 2 weeks in, right? Ayush, we're doing a lot of like live stream for like workshops, trying to actually like facilitate how people can build, can vibe code with both one-shot API and Venice AI, and obviously like Smart Account Kit. But how is the submission look like? How is the support? A lot of question, a lot of excitement.
I think like it's going pretty good as of now. We are standing strong on the submissions and the participants. It's more than 100 as of now, so pretty good to see that. I'm like hoping more of submissions to come like in the last 3 days of the hackathon, like usual.
Yes, I think it's always happening, right? But I think, what we did with the one-shot API live stream was really cool. That in less than, I think, was 2 hours, where we were a bit like off time. Let's make sure that today we're not doing a 3 hours live stream. But yeah, building the stack completely from scratch, and was actually like we also verified was working. Was quite impressive under the 2 hours. But yeah, I think the goal of those dev cook-offs is also that people are actually like taking their time to learn and build and ask questions, and not arriving the last Sunday before the submission deadline.
Yeah, and it's funny that we'll be also doing the vibe coding today. So hopefully it will be done, I guess, before 2 hours, not stretched till 2 hours, so like everyone can go home and relax as well.
I think it's fine. Yeah, been testing a lot, like the composable 2.5 from Cursor, and it's actually very strong. There is a lot of like different things. I think especially for planning mode is clear up your mind a lot. So I'm excited also to do some planning mode specific. Okay, so let's do a quick intro for the people joining now. We are actually running this workshop all around MetaMask Dev Cook-Off, and today is very focused on building something with X402. And yeah, we're kind of like building something around recurrent payments. So quite excited. Feel free to ask any question. And hi to everybody that is kind of like chiming in from different region, and say hi to the chat. And let's do it. So for the people that already like know what a MetaMask Dev Cook-Off is, or they already submitted, or they already been in some of those workshop, yeah, this is a 1 month online long virtual hackathon, and the goal is really to include everyone that is not just at IRL event, but is anywhere in the world, and is able to actually like hack on something cool. This is not just for individual developer. It's also like build a team, is startups, companies. They actually want to enhance their functionality. They want to leveraging a tech stack, and it's a good way to do it, because you don't only have support of all those partners of the hackathon, but it's also a good way to to build something not just from scratch, to enhance their functionality, and yeah, and kind of get inside the ecosystem more, especially because we can invite you to all the MetaMask community call. There is a lot of kind of ecosystem outreach being done in the same time. And yeah, Ayush, I'm trying to speak fast. I think we kind of like did this live stream, part of this live stream, couple of times, and I really like want to go where really like people are excited on the X402 side. Okay, I think like you know better, but I think like in this category, and we reiterate a couple of times, what is your kind of like favorite category here, Ayush, that you're excited for the Dev Cook-Off prizes?
I think it's supposed to be the X402. It's pretty new and experimental, and we have been like working a lot on the DevX improvements. We released a new version today. Our docs are not up to date yet, and skill files as well. But it's pretty good to see like how quickly like we are evolving in the X402 DevX based on the feedbacks internally and from the outside. So would be great to see the hacks around that.
Yes, yes, I'm excited. I also like obviously I'll be biased. The smart account kit kind of like track on the best agent. I really like the agent to agent coordination. So I assume people will start using more the X42 side. But obviously, like leveraging our partner tech like One Shot API and Venice AI, I think it's actually quite cool. And yeah, and I think make let's say the most out of it, right? Like I also recommend everyone hacking or everyone kind of like building something cool to kind of like document this, tweet it out, write some blogs, write some kind of like proper readme that you can share also with your colleagues. I think there is a lot of things. Okay, sounds good. So we are talking a bit around making recurring payments with X402. So before actually like going into the build with Ayush, let's give some kind of like context. So I assume mostly people are kind of like socialized already what X402 has been around for some times. We've been talking about a lot. Every time that is come kind of like from like in talks with agents, you need to have some kind of standard that actually like allow the agent to do payments, right? And I think this is all about X402, right? Obviously, this was inspired. I think like the name is actually coming from the old HTTP status, right? So because it was the 402 payments required. But basically, like X402 in a nutshell is just an open standard, right? It's been created and led by people like, if I remember correctly, like Lincoln. There is a bunch of like also we have Lincoln also on Builder Night New York if you're coming for ETHConf. But this standard is all about payments, is fully internet native, and those payments are done between kind of apps, API agents, or general like open source and building public AI systems, right? And I
Yeah.
think, yeah, no, go for it, Ayush.
No,
If you have,
yeah, it's just like one of the main thing that it solves is like you don't need an API key, right? Like, and as we have been moving towards like agents not having the API keys, your agents
yes,
can pay per request, and that's the best part of like having X402 for
yes.
the agents specifically.
Yes, I mean, I can kind of like resume also a pain point. I mean, it's not a pain point, but that's the current state of like finance, right? Like normally you need to kind of create accounts, you need to add kind of like virtual credit cards, you need to kind of like managing different API keys, subscription, even invoice, right? So instead all that, you have basically like both machine and agents that can pay each other directly on chain on crypto rails, right? And I think it's super exciting. So in this graph, there is different kind of like type. You have the client request API, you have the 402 payment required. The clients create a payment payload. Then the clients retry request with payment proof, and then you get the payments both settled. First, you got verified and then settled, and then you have a full API response as a return. So basically, the biggest positive things here is obviously like the human side is not involved, right? And this is fully programmable. It's obviously agent native. There is a standard, meaning also you building other agent on top are also allowing the standard for cross border for payments, and it's fully instant. So I think we can watch a bit like some kind of like stats around what's the kind of the ecosystem state around X42. But there is a lot of things happening. I usually like I think like you saw obviously like a lot of use case. Any kind of like use case that spark your mind more that you think, okay, this is very easy to understand.
I think like it always goes into that direction where like my agent is able to pay for certain services. Like if, in example, like for example, your agent is kind of into crypto thing, and your agent wants to like do the trading, right? And now you as a like agent might want to get some insights on like which trade is better to do, be given on the token name or like be given on the
Yes.
token insights, right? And maybe there is a service that can provide you all those kind of insights. There is already service that uses X402 to give
Yes.
agents that kind of insights of polymarket trading for the hyperliquid trading, right? And then
Yes.
these agents can call this API using like whatever amount that is required to pay, get the insights, and actually then do the trade, right? So that's like this kind of things like where agent is able to do a lot of things, not having an API key, not having to do a registration process, just plain old money in your crypto
Yes.
wallet and able to use it per request is pretty
It's
good.
quite cool. And also, like, one of my best use case obviously is you give like a virtual card, and then kind of like the agent can spend and pay and kind of like resell like different like money payment. So I think it's very cool, right? I mean, there is a lot of different narrative, right? There is obviously like it's exciting to see like a full autonomous like agents paying for like different tools and API. I think when I gave like at the beginning like OpenClaw some of this virtual card that was using x402 to pay, I think was that the X subscription or something like that, was super interesting. Basically, like getting like fully payment for that. Obviously, you pay per request on the API side. Yeah, and I mean, I'm excited to see more like how SaaS are evolving with X42 coming in, because obviously, like this is fully removing the traditional SaaS billing. So that's kind of like a cool part of the game. But also, most important, and why actually are we speaking about X402 and how this connect with like 7702 and MetaMask itself? Obviously, because we are speaking about both a smart account. We are obviously delegating execution, and meaning like what you can do, you can literally delegate access to an agent to make payments and support, and this support is done by x42. And I think like you usually will go more like further. I just want to give like some kind of like preview on that. Yeah, I think automatic signing is something that we discussed already. I think the gas abstraction, meaning like we are able to kind of like do this gasless transaction in terms of like agents, and actually having x42 underneath as a standard for those payments. So basically, like you have less human interaction as possible is super good. Okay, so just to give a quick like insight about like a preview of x42 and where, for example, like I'm looking at the stats, or like there are different kind of way. Let me share. I think one of my favorite, and for the people that are joining now, we're speaking about x42, whereas actually like we will build live in this kind of like live coding session, like something with x42. But before, we just give some kind of like insights about what is x42, why it matters. One things I want to share is like, for example, kind of like the state of landscape of x402. There are two main kind of sources that I always see. Obviously, there is the x402 scan. The other one is I really like the x402 payment analytics that we share. We can share the links also in the chat. I mean, and you can actually see overall stats. I really like both the discovery part, the facilitator part, and actually like going a little bit back and trying to understand, okay, who is running facilitator, what's the current volume. Just to give you an idea, there were around like 4 million transactions run by in the previous 30 days by facilitator. And the cool thing is that you also see a full breakdown around ecosystem, network, and different kind of like stats on the top servers and that activity. The one from Dune, I think is very also very specific, and shout out to the people actually like building it. It also like give a good volume being processed in the past 30 days. You have a breakdown of the facilitator, so you see also what's the amount being run, and you can actually see a transaction facilitator. Maybe we didn't give context, but I usually want to kind of like mention what is actually a facilitator and why it's kind of like important.
So let's consider that you want to sell certain kind of services and you want to have like support for x42, right? And you need someone to verify whether the payment request that is coming to you is actually valid or not, right? And also to settle that, like for example, like you got the payment request that actually needs to go on chain, right? So facilitator is the main part that basically verifies the payment request that is coming, is it valid or not. If it is valid, then it also like tries to settle it when server sends the payload. So it tries to settle and submit the transaction on chain, and once that is done, the server can basically send the whatever services you were asked for as a server to the client.
Nice. Sounds good. Makes sense. Okay, yeah, that was a kind of like a quick like rundown on where to check also the further kind of like landscape around x402. So we shared both the links on x402 scan, and this is a big shout out to the guys from Merit and Dune, obviously, like the guys from Dune, and I think this dashboard is built by Chris. I would say let's continue in here. So why x402 on 7710? Why is actually relevant for this hackathon itself? Why is so important?
Yeah. So like before that, I'd like to share my screen and let's
Oh, please,
go
please.
a little bit more in detail to understand like what's the pain points as of now. So we saw this diagram briefly earlier, right? And if we go back to the older diagram, right? How X402 works. So we talked about the facilitator part. We talked about server, right? We talked about client. So consider you want certain kind of services. You are the client. You hit the API request to server. Now server, like for a client, they need to know like what amount is required for the services, right? So since the payload is not applied in the get API as of now, the server will send you the 402 payment required error. Now this client will be using this payment requirement to create a payment payload, right? So let's say if it is requesting 0.01 USD, it will create a payload for that. It will send the payload this time with the get API, and it will send it to server. Now server will send that payload to verify to the facilitator. If the verification is successful, it will basically get back to the server. The server will basically what we already say, right? Like do the whatever fulfillment requirement to be done to service processing or something like that. It will try to settle the payment. If the settlement is successful for the facilitator, it will be submitted on the chain. The transaction is confirmed. The facilitator will send the settle request to the backdoor server. Now server, once it gets that, will return the response and the payment response, which will have transaction links and stuff, other stuff. And this will also have the whatever service the client was requesting, right? And now here we see the select the payment method, right? What we mean by payment method is in X2 there are different kind of schemes, and there are different kind of payment methods, and you can like go through those kind of payment methods here. Like what are the payment schemes? So there is one scheme which is called XZ scheme, one scheme is called up to scheme, and there's like different, the both have like different use cases. In XZ scheme you basically want to pay the exact amount, and in the up to scheme you want to pay up to the up to amount. So for example, if you want to pay, like if you want to give permission of using $10 to the facilitator, you can basically use the up to scheme. And if you want to do kind of one of kind of payments, you can use the exact scheme, right? And in exact schemes there are different what do you say, the method as well. So if you go into the exact scheme, you will find there are different asset transfer methods, right? Like AIP 3009, there is like permit to method, then there is like 7710 method, right? So it's not something like that's a different standard. It's a asset transfer method inside the exit scheme, right? And we'll be talking about that today. So one of the problem that was in the X2 earlier was that you are not able to do kind of subscription kind of payments, right? It is possible with the up to, but the problem with the up to is that you need to do token approvals, and we all know like the token approvals are riskier. Like sometimes when your token approvals are exploited, anyone can drain the funds out of your wallet, and we basically don't want to do that. We want to avoid that, right? And the way to do that is with the 7710. In 7710, what you can do is, let's say like you are a MetaMask user or a MetaMask smart account user, right? You can create a delegation of saying that I want to delegate 10 USD to the client. Now I'm giving permission to the client to use 10 USD from my account for a month, for a week, for a year, whatever you want to decide, that's up to you. Now, what client will do is it will store that permission context or the delegation. We will talk about what is permission context, but let's just assume that it's storing the delegation. Now, what will server, like other things that will happen same. Like if you see the previous diagram, it's same. Like the whole flow is same. It gets the API, get the payment requirement. Once it is getting payment requirement, now at this point, instead of like using any of the asset transfer method, it will use 7710 asset transfer method, and it will redelegate the permission. So, and it will like do open redelegation, right? What I mean by that is, let's say I'm giving permission to Francesco that Francesco can use like 10 USD on my PF, right? And now Francesco is doing an open redelegation. That means that Francesco is now giving permissions to everyone watching on the live stream to use 10 USDs from my account, right? And that's what like open redelegation means, that you are using that permission that you have been given, and you are basically redelegating so that anyone can redeem those permissions, right? And that's what like the client is doing. The client obviously attaches like enforcers which basically restrict the delegation, open delegation, that no one can use it in a malicious way. So it will create a redelegation, prepare the payload, it will send to the server, and all other things happen the same way. It will verify using the facilitator, it will get the verification, do the work to fulfill request, it will settle. Now here facilitator will basically, instead of like the normal transaction or the transfer from, it will basically submit the redeem delegations on the blockchain. The transaction will get confirmed. If it is settled, it will send the like x x402 payment response with the whatever fulfilled request was done, right? And now if you see, if I have given $10 permission here, till my $10 are like exhausted, I don't need to worry about signing transactions every time. The client can use those permissions and redelegate n number of times. So if like the charge is zero point 0.1, the client can basically do up to 100 x402 calls without me having to interfere in between. So it's pretty cool for when you want to give permissions to an agent from your EOA wallet, and then that agent can basically use that permission from your EOA wallet to do transactions. And today we will be like doing something kind of that. And if you see, it's kind of unlocking a subscription kind of payment or recurring payment schemes without like having to do a very large approval and putting assets on the risk. So, like, if you have any like questions, feel free to raise it out.
Can fees? I see one question from John. Can fees be in ERC20 token or only native gas tokens?
In if you're doing 7710, you can use any of the ERC20 tokens here. So
Nice, yeah.
and if you're using like permit to or like some other like asset transfer method, one of the restriction there is also like for 3009, the tokens need to support that particular ERC, and for permit to also like tokens need to support permit to one. But if you are doing like 7710, it's backward compatible. So any of the ERC20 token you can use for the payment.
Nice. Yeah, thanks, John, for asking. Keep those questions coming. I think they're super useful. Let me check the chat. I think yeah, a bunch of people saying hi and nice, but nothing much. I think yeah, it's quite straightforward. I know also lately this has been open source, right? So what does it mean for the ecosystem? It means everybody can actually like integrate, fork, and building on top of it. But I think everybody's kind of like leveraging x402 in general for their A2A dApp. Yeah, but I think that's a big move and step forward to building public and open source it. Very exciting. Nice. Okay, so I think like we are good. We give some context. So for the people, we just we will share some links also. We just kind of like define a bit what we're doing with the MetaMask Dev Cook-Off. We define what is actually x402. And now you should also like explain a little bit further when kind of like what is x402 also in a nutshell, and why x402 with 7710. And yeah, I'm excited to see what we want to build now.
So, Francesco, what do you want to build before we start?
We were debating different things before, right? Like we kind of like said, okay, let's build this kind of like recurring payment. We kind of like wanted to go and start directly from the skill set. Yeah, like what were the option and what we choose to build?
I think like the idea that the liked was like, since like all the tokens and markets are down, maybe we should build X402 API service that can roast a token given certain payment. So you can pay 0.01 USD on the mainnet to get a token roast. So if you want to roast Solana, if you want to roast ETH, up to you. up to your agent or up to you to like choose which token you want to roast, and we'll be doing that. And we'll be not like going through all the codes by ourselves. We'll just go through like what are the important pieces that we'll be using, and then we'll be basically giving all those contexts to our friendly neighborhood like developer helping tools. You can use Claude Code, or we'll be using Cursor for this, but you can use Claude Code, Cursor, whatever you want. And that's it. Let's see like how if it is able to one shot or not.
Nice. And before we're going into planning mode, that is something that we're always like advising to do it, right? What are the main resources that you suggest also people to check to kind of like build these fundamentals? Obviously, there are some of the x402 docs, right? We also added a bunch of like resources in the, let me check here. I really like the resource map in the kind of a quest hackathon, right? Where you can see all the x402 and 7710 payments. You have both the overview, and this is redirecting to the docs. I don't know if you want to kind of like share. So x402 payment here, and we can share this one also in the chat. Yeah, I really like also the part, the seller guide, the buyer guide, and the recurring payments. Oh, you want to share your screen?
Oh yeah. So maybe we can then walk through and like start doing some stuff.
Let's do
So
it.
as like we talked about, like we want to build a service that basically roast a token given the token name, and it charges certain amount of money, right? So here we want to build both of the things, right? Like we want to build the seller part as well, because we don't have a seller that gives that kind of services. So we'll build the seller part as well, and we'll be also like building the buyer part, right? Because we got the seller, now we want to purchase that service from a seller, right? So we'll be building the buyer part as well in the demo. And for that, if you go to the x402 docs that we already shared on the link, you will be seeing the overview, right? And you will be seeing here, like again, like what we talked about, why 7710 is important piece of like x402 asset transfer method. And you can also learn about more about delegations, how they work. We have already like taken like multiple live streams on how to do delegations, what they are. But in general, like delegations are basically permissions that you can share with other accounts or smart contracts, and then they can execute on behalf of you or the other account that is given permission, right? So that's basically delegations. And then you can see the guides, so you can click on here, get to the set up the seller guide one, and you'll be seeing like how you can create the x402 server with 7710. And it's very simple, to be honest. Is just this piece of code that you need to write to have a x402 server, right? As of now, we don't have like x402 support of 7710 in the x402 packages from the foundation. So we have created for time being like the MetaMask x402 package that you can use to have the x402 exit EVM ERC7710 server scheme that we already talked about, right? 7710 is basically a like scheme um, that we'll be using, right? The exit scheme transfer method. So we'll be using this, and this basically here handles everything that needs to be done, right? It handles like the like sending the payment requirement part when the payload is not there. It also handles like how to basically verify, like call the facilitator verification path and get the verification results. It also handles like the settlement part, and then basically sending the response, right? And only this piece of code that you need to add. And here in the guide, like if you see, we are basically sending a response which is called message hello. So every time you pay $0.1, you will be getting hello back. Obviously we don't want to do that, so you will be changing whatever you want to send, do some processes and send back the response whatever you want to send. But this is the guide, and this is the piece of code that you need to write in your server to have that. And it's pretty easy. If you go, you can see the installation steps, you can see the configure middleware, you can read about like why we need to do this. And it is basically the same thing. It talks about like handling the verification and settlement part for you. And that's it. And we also have like MetaMask facilitator. So make sure that you are using MetaMask once, because the other ones does not support 7710 asset transfer method. If the facilitator does not support asset transfer method 7710, it won't work. Your server will not be able to like process the payments. So this is the like guide, and then you can go to the buyer guide and you will be seeing there is already a recurring payments guide, right? And in recurring payments, what we will be doing is we want to do a recurring payment of like um, recurring payment from the MetaMask wallet directly, right? So what we'll be doing is we'll be requesting the advance permissions. Now you might be again like having like, oh, there are so many of like random words coming up. So basically we talked about delegations, right? Delegation is basically giving permission to some other contract or account to execute any of kind of on-chain actions. So if you want to do it via MetaMask account, you can request advanced permissions. These are human readable permissions that your users can see what kind of permission they are giving, and you can also see in the concepts how it looks like. It looks something like this. So if you are requesting a ERC20 token periodic transfer permission, your user will be able to see the time, the weekly amount. They can change the duration from weekly to monthly as well, set the expiry for that permission. So we'll be getting that permission, we'll be storing that, right? And then we'll be using the x402 ERC7710 client to create a redelegation, right? And now this client basically helps you to get the payment requirement. Once it has the payment requirements, it creates the redelegation. The redelegation is happening from the advanced permissions context that we already got, right? So I give permission to a dApp. That dApp store the permission context somewhere. It can be either on-chain, they want to store in the Filecoin or IPFS, or like if they want to store it in like Firebase DB, that's also fine. Anywhere it is fine. It's like unless the redeemer is like doing the redemption. If your permissions are even exposed, it doesn't matter. So basically we are using the same permission from the previous step. If you see the granted permission, we are getting permission, and we are creating a redelegation, right? We talked about like doing open redelegation. Here it is doing the same thing. It is basically redelegating permission context openly, and it is like, now what it is doing, other thing is that instead of like we have given $10 permission to dApp, right? Now dApp is not doing open redelegation of $10. It is like restricting the payment to be as much as it requires to be for the payment. So if payment requirement is $0.1, it will only redelegate $0.1 openly, so that it's not exposing all the $10. So we talked about, right, like how the open redelegation can be restricted. This is one way to restrict the open redelegation. You can also restrict based on which facilitators can redeem those permissions as well. Once you have basically the redelegation done, you will be getting the redelegate permission context and you will be returning this. So x402 time payment load requires these three properties, which is delegation manager. Delegation manager is responsible for basically redeeming those permissions on chain. Permission context is basically the permission that has been used for the 7710, and the delegator, right? This delegator is basically who is like the root delegator, or who is like who has given this permission, right? So that is basically delegator, and we are returning this back. Now this 7710 client, right? You can register it with existing x402 client from the x402 package. Once you have done that, you can basically create a new fetch with payment using wrap fetch with payment method again from x402. It's basically like a similar flow that x402 already has. Instead of like using their existing clients, they're using the 7710 client from the like MetaMask x402, right? Once we have done that part, right, you just need to make the use the fetch with payment with the API endpoint, and whatever the method it's like method name it is, like it's guest post or whatever it is, and you will be getting the paid response back, which will have like x402 payment response with the data as well. So that's basically the whole gist of what seller and recurring payments can be done on the like x402 and 7710. Now we'll be basically giving all this context to our friendly tools, and we'll be asking it to build something which can roast a token. given $0.01. So if anyone has any issues or something like that, feel free to ask questions if you have any, if you want
Yeah,
any.
we have some. I see some question. What are the main security consideration developers should be aware of around the X402?
So when you like for this one, right, like the 7710 just make sure that whenever you are creating a redelegation, open redelegation, you are restricting it towards like the specific token amount in the redelegation. And the other thing that you can add is like redeem enforcers. So basically every facilitator has an address, right, that can basically submit transactions on behalf of servers, right? And those address can be like enforced on the open delegation. So if anyone else is using the open permission apart from those facilitator, it won't be redeemable. It will throw an error on chain that okay, this is not allowed for you to redeem. For example, I give permission to Francesco. Now Francesco is creating an open delegation and saying only people who are active in MetaMask community can redeem those permissions. So anyone who is not active in MetaMask community, obviously they won't be able to redeem those permissions even if they got access to it. So those are the two like thing that you can take care of when doing X402 7 payments.
Nice, nice. Yeah, that's super relevant. And yeah, Jordi, awesome. Yeah, we're always doing the live coding session with like 001 USDC just to test it out, or MUSD. Yeah, and oh, yeah, from John, I see. I don't know why I skipped it, but how does X402 prevent replay attacks or misuse of session permission? I think you kind of already answered, Ayush.
So you can also do that. So if you want to restrict the permission to be used only once, right, you can also add like the limit enforcer, right? So I'm doing an open redelegation and I can say this permission can only be used once in the lifetime. So it is already used one on chain. It won't be like it the anyone won't be able to use it again. Like it will basically again throw the error saying that okay, the permission has a limit enforcer of one and it has already been redeemed once.
So you have also limit redeeming
Yeah.
numbers that you can
Those
also
can be
state.
done as well. So
Yeah.
and if you want more information of which delegation, like which enforcers you can use, you can go in the docs. You can basically go in the like if you go into the references, right, you will be seeing like the enforce caveat enforcers, and we talked about the limit one, right? So
Yeah, let me share this. This is useful. Caveat enforcers.
so you can see there is a limited calls enforcer. So here I can limited number of times delegate can perform the executions, right? So if I add one, it will be only be able to redeem once. If I add two, only two times. So even if the permission is like still exposed to someone else or the same person who can redeem it, they won't be able to use it.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Just yeah, just sharing the caveat enforcer link. Awesome. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, let's do it.
So how do you want to do it? Let's start with creating a.
Or you wanna basic maybe zoom a bit. Not sure if I'm seeing. Hey GM Harpov, it's cool to actually see you
So
here. We should actually use a Banker wallet with some X402 transactions. Anyway, let's do it.
so we'll be creating API, right? And let's go into that.
So we title this roast API, yeah?
Yeah, so we'll be basically creating a server that can that can roast a token given the token name, and then we'll create a front end that where a user can basically send the token names to get it roast, and they only need to like give permission once, and then they can use export to APIs and number of time till the allowance is not exceeded. So we have open our like friendly tool cursor, and instead of like agent mode, we'll go to the plan mode. You wanna choose like whichever model you wanna choose, right? Like it's up to you, whichever you prefer. Codex, GPT, Composer. We'll use like Opus 4.7 for the planning mode at least. to see like what the planning has been done. So what we want to do, right? Like,
That's a good also tip, right? Like planning mode is super important. And if you want to kind of save token, always do kind of like planning mode with a top model. And then you kind of like run the execution with like composable 2.5 or something else. I think that's a good strategy.
and we'll be using light LLM because I already have access to it, light LLM. So I'll be using light LLM. But if you want to use OpenAI Anthropic APIs directly, you can use that as well. Light LLM is basically like the Go router. Like you can have multiple subscriptions in a single place. So I'm using that.
Are you also giving a context or you leaving the context first from the docs, or you already pre-build the context space?
Yeah. So I'll be like writing out what you want to build using what, and I'll be then throwing the context of the docs and like other stuff as well. So it knows like where to search for particular things and not just like hallucinate on finding those things. So we want to use like light LLM to produce the roast. The roast level can be whatever okay, so you can also do something like this, like you can have like roast level, medium, savage or something like that, and every like savage takes like instead of 0.01 it takes 0.03 dollars as well. We don't want to do that like tier level, but we'll be just keeping it single level, right? The roast should be savage by default. um, the roast should be the savage one. We want to give context about what the server should use. We also want to say that to use, since light LLM does not have like the TypeScript APIs, we can use Versal OpenAI SDK with chart completion. Because so if you have not worked with like OpenAI SDK of chart completions, by default like you have like the models inbuilt, right, and you can use that directly, the connectors. But if you don't have one, like if you don't find a model and providers here, you can use chat completion, where you can provide the base URL and you can basically define the model and send the message. And since like we don't have an SDK of the light LLM and we want to like use it, we'll be giving the base URL of light LLM, giving our API key, defining the model for light LLM that we want to use, and then sending the message, and it will basically giving you the content back, right? So it's pretty easy. So we'll be giving this context as well to the now this is what we want to do for the for the server side, right? And we can say charge 0.01 USD on the base mainnet, right? Use MetaMask facilitator because we know no other one supports it.
Are you also giving a context on the facilitator docs, or you kind of like fetch it directly?
I will give it. So I'll give the context of
You
the
give
whole,
it. Okay.
like get the all the
Yeah.
details from the LLM files, and it has like if it will go into seller guide, it will see the MetaMask information on the facilitator, which API to use and how to use.
What is your experience? More deep context you give at the beginning before planning mode is better, or you kind of like give context a bit like in the planning steps?
I think like the initial, like if you give a lot of context to it, it will like able to one shot quite a times. So I spend some time to like write a good context for it. um, Give it as much as we know that we want, convey it to the agent, and not just say that okay, build an x402 7710 project that does the roaster token, right? That can be also one thing of vibe coding, but we don't want to do that. We want to do a proper planning mode and go through, so we are able to maybe complete before 2 hours.
Nice. Yeah, also in my experience, I think also giving as much context at the beginning, it's also like giving more guardrails. But yeah, it's also depend on the scope, right? If you want to have a very specific scope versus kind of like doing a wider planning mode, that's also like a possibility. I think the most important part here is that you're using a high planning mode model to run the planning mode. Like Opus, like you just do the planning mode and then you move to kind of like a Composer 2.5 or anything. I think like there is still this debate around Codex versus Opus, right? That I'm hearing on crypto Twitter and more, or AI Twitter, let's say that those days. But yeah, it's a mix.
Yeah. So now we are giving the context for the front end, and we are saying that for the front end, we want user given an option to connect their wallet, connect only MetaMask, because only MetaMask supports 7715, right, and delegation. So we want to specify that, so it does not use WAGMI v3, right, and it will automatically also, since it is using WAGMI v3, I hope it will automatically use also the MetaMask Connect SDK. Hopefully, let's see if it does or not.
Oh, yes.
Once the connection, so like once the connection is done, ask them to grant the advanced permissions, right? Like what? And let's say let's default to $5 weekly, right? Like, so weekly $5, it can be like used by the tap, right? And once that is done, for the input, have a small have a text input, right, for getting the token name from user. Once the token name is given, use we want to create a redelegation, right? Use the stored permission, and we have not said here like where we want to store the permission, so let's just say like store the advanced permissions locally, right? So it does not, let's say like locally is basically on your browser storage. Use the given advanced permissions context to redelegate and call the x402 API, right? Like I feel like this is the enough context that we want to give. Now we'll give the context for we have given the context for the docs as well, so hopefully it will be able to do it. And if we want, like, we can give more context on the docs on how to connect using WAGMI as well if you want.
WAGMI or even Connect, right?
Yeah, WAGMI plus. I think it will be figuring out its own. Let's see, like, if it is able to do it or not.
I see
And
in the planning mode if you can use WAGMI or even Connect. If yeah, what he's asking.
and we can say let's keep the UI UX silly and playful, right? Because it's a silly project or silly demo that we're doing. And
I mean, the name say everything, right? Yeah. So the question from Jordan is, so we roast any token. What if we say about Cardano of XRP? We will test it out.
yeah,
It
we
will
can get
verify.
the inputs on which tokens you want to get roasted. And just FYI, it is not affiliated with MetaMask anyways. That whatever we are roasting is not affiliated. It's just like a fun thing that we're doing.
Yes, this is just a
No
like coding
harms.
session. We build something on specific. Just trying to help or at least support the people that are actually like want to build something during this MetaMask Dev Cook-Off. Could be individual developers or founders or just dApps that want to actually build something also with x402 in mind. So let's see what we're getting. Yeah, WAGMI v3 should be able to pull. Yes. Let's see. Excited, Jordan, that we are able to pull. I think on obviously like this is supported. So let's see now in in planning mode. So you're using Opus 4.7 for this planning, right?
Yeah, and you can have like other ones as well if you want. By default, I go with the auto if I'm just doing the basic stuff, and I think like by default it chooses the composer for the basic stuff.
Yeah.
But we can play around.
Does the agent mode also include the planning mode?
No, so agent mode, if you do the auto, it will auto select the models.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Planning mode, we can get the whole thing and iterate over it as well.
yeah. That's a good point for not hitting the token limits. Sounds good. Yeah, so for the people joining now, we are basically running this MetaMask Dev Cook-Off live coding session on x402. So this is part of like the, let's say, requirements vertical. It's not mandatory, depends on the vertical that you're choosing. And yeah, we're doing this with different partners like Venice AI and One-Shot API. And yeah, we're basically like building it from scratch.
So good questions. If you see, it is saying the Wagmi V3, but the current stable version is V2, which I don't think is true. Because
Interesting.
Wagmi V3.
We can just feed the WAGMI v3. Let me
Yeah.
find the link. The doc specific on how to migrate v2 to v3, right?
Yeah. I think we can give it from the connect SDK as well, right? Like directly.
Yes. It's a good question when the crawling happened last time on the docs.
I just hope like it does not has like a conflicting in the packages. And the second good question is it is asking is like advanced permission, you still need a DApp key, right? And who will be like having this DApp key? So session accounts private key must persist somewhere, right? So maybe this is a good one. Maybe generate a random one and store its private key permission. Because I think this is good. Should be doable. Which model also should you say? I think start. No, it should not. Yes. Okay, I'll need to stop sharing so I can feed the URL of the
Please stop.
yeah. I just don't want to expose something that I don't want to expose.
Yeah, like the EVM keys. Yeah, remember old times. Yeah, so basically right now we fed directly the WAGMI v3 docs in planning mode. And we're kind of like try to take it from here. Let's see. We also like gave the connect doc. There is actually a migrate v2 to v3 doc too. Let's see what you will do. And let me know when you want me to share again. Ayush.
It looks like I stopped sharing.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we can say I added all the context. The thing.
Perfect.
Okay, so it's trying to again like go into that mode. Okay, so it's doing that. I think it didn't ask like one more question that was like, what is the pay to address, right? Which it should have asked. Because like you want to sell something, but you want to define an address where the payments will be done for using your services. And that was not been asked. So
I mean, yeah.
Back.
But can you actually maybe define, maybe in the DApp itself will be like which actually like interaction you want to have with each address? Maybe has been asked on the interface level, but we already finished planning mode.
It's creating a plan. So
Okay.
hopefully like it will have like all the things there.
Yeah, sometimes I'm trying to be kind of like spicy on asking question after the planning mode, like where I put actually the address where the payment will go.
So it says like the stack is this one, Wagmi V3 stack with the Wagmi connectors, connect TVM, smart accounts kit package, smart accounts kit actions, x402 packages, MetaMask x402 packages provides this, and we can go to server side. So on server side, it says like facilitator client, x402 resource server, registered with the this is the base chain ID exported pay to address, right? So it basically will create an .env and will ask us to add the pay to address there. And
Okay, so we get the payment address on the env file afterwards. Okay.
yeah, and
Actually,
then
I'm very cool that he got the connect Wagmi v3. Yeah, super
yeah,
cool.
and then
There
we
you
have
are, Jordan. That you are asking question in the chat. Sorry, go for it, Ayush.
no. I was just like, if you have questions, we can take it. Otherwise, like we can just walk through, check it once, and then just hit the build.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. I think there is no other kind of remarks. I think the question was who is the payment address, but if we can define that in the env afterwards, it makes sense. Front end side, it looks quite straightforward. What else are we? Where Oracle wise, where are we getting the information on the token? There is no need.
It will be just basically sending the token name to the lighter LM model. For example,
Okay.
and it will like basically get us the roasting. It will find all the context what is need and will get the roast done.
But is it using some kind of CoinGecko API free
No,
of
no.
charge or
We
something?
just need to send the token name. So if we say hi, if
Okay, directly.
Cardino or
Yeah.
something, it will do it.
The latest Grok, I think Grok API is giving actually like token prices and Oracle prices through like I think Chainlink. Yeah, that's quite actually cool to know.
So you see, this is also doing this thing like it's restricting the redelegation towards the specific amount, which we didn't say. It also is adding the redeemers, which is a good thing we didn't mention. It is not mentioned in the guide as well, but it's a good thing that is adding that.
But do we
Uh,
want to specify the Redeemer
it's always
docs?
in the API. So
Is it right?
in the API, you always get like who are the like
Okay.
facilitator address, and you can basically add them as the redeemers. So, and then the payment payload is this, and then basically hit the roast API, huge connect MetaMask button. It's a good thing.
So he's
Huge.
using the use connector, right? Yeah, use connect. Okay.
Yeah, it says like huge, so it will be a big button in front. Connect with
Let's see.
MetaMask. We didn't mention anything about having a huge button. I think cursor also has a
Because you
preference.
put kind of gamify this, right? I think that would be.
I think it looks pretty good, and if you see, it also has .env example. Why it needs an Infura API key? I'm not sure. We can ask questions, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Need
I mean, the
Infura.
pay to address is quite clear, right? You need to pay. Light LLM API key, yeah. I mean, on the RPC side, right, for deployment, I guess.
And we can check this as well. I don't know why. Like
Oh,
so,
this is actually nice. Yeah.
browser UI.
Do you want to
Can
increase the size? Let's see.
request
Yes.
the permission, store it, and then redelegate when you want to call the API host. It will hit the backend of the Next.js API, verify, and plus settle using MetaMask facilitator. It will use Light LLM consensus one to do the chat completions, get the
Yep.
response back, send the response back. And it will also store the session private key plus granted permissions in local storage, right?
Nice. This is super clean. Yeah. Yeah, let's
Okay,
do it.
so okay, the infra key is gone. 2 elements now. It's an optional public URL noted later if you want
But
on
it was written why was needed is
for
for
the
the
non.
RPC deployment.
Uh,
If you go, I think a little bit before, it's written why. You're right. If you're, I copy pasted from the connect why miss quick start. Okay, this is a good iteration on the quick start. If you're hearing us, Shabazz, from the DevRel team of MetaMask. Okay, sounds good. So it's quite clear. X402 also is fully supported here. Let's proceed with the steps, I guess.
let's hit build.
Let's do it. I
You
wish I
can
could like
we have
multi-select.
requests.
Oh yeah, we didn't use
I think we
compose.
wanna keep it like fast forward. So, but if you want, like, you can change the model whatever you want. Usually, if you are not time constrained and if you don't want to do faster things and you can use Codex is also pretty good for doing
Yeah.
it. Sonat is also pretty good because here you see like everything is already laid out, even the code snippets and the links, like where to find it and how to structure it. So like pretty easy to do it. So now
Yeah,
what
one
does
question I always have is there is no preview of token, right? Like in the model selection. Like I wish like there will be some kind of like skill that give me like, hey, this is the amount of token preview and this is the timing of execution. But right now we know like which model is kind of like fast versus more expensive. But there is not like a preview of. I think this is a cool feedback from Cursor if you're hearing us. Yeah.
do you think it will
Sounds
be able to one shot?
Let's see. Let's break down the each bullet points. So how does it start? So
It's
scaffoldages.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
And then it's at like once the scaffolding for next year is done, it is basically will add an API path into the X402 for the X402 in the next years, where it will
Yep.
have X402 server that can you can hit to get the roast done for the tokens. And once that is done, it will also add the light LLM, which X402 server will use to actually get the roast responses from the light LLM. Once that is done, it will start doing the Wagme integrations on the front end, where it will be using Wagme v3 connect EVM MetaMask adapter only, because we say it is using MetaMask only connector, because we specifically mentioned that we don't want any other wallets to be connected, only MetaMask, because we don't have support for 771 of the wallets, right? So that's the reason we are restricting it to MetaMask. And the app providers, this is the pretty standard as well, like how we add the providers.
Yeah.
Then going forward, it's adding a session account. So like you are giving permissions from like MetaMask to a dApp, right? So dApp needs to have a session account or some kind of an EVM account where it can like where it can redelegate those permissions, right? As of now, I have stored in the local storage. You should not do it. Maybe you can create a .env, add your private key there, or maybe have a TE or like a embedded wallet server. Use that as a session account, where you are giving permissions from advanced permissions to that account, and then that account is basically redelegating. Since we are time constrained and we don't want to like do a full production app, we have kept it as a local storage where it does not have any fund or something like that. But you should not do it, not the production or like even a hackathon advice to do. And then it's going
Mostly
to
the
permission store as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It will be
Yeah.
granted.
Permissions.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can revoke those permission with specifically right after if you
Yeah, you
want.
can, if you want, you can also revoke it from the MetaMask. So once it is done, we'll be going through that. Like will be seeing the MetaMask displaying that permission that you have given, and an option to revoke that permission as well. So once you have revoked, even if anyone has that permission, they won't be able to do the transactions. So it will be basically creating the UI for requesting the permissions, and it will be requesting $5 per week USDC. Stored it in the local storage, pretty good. Big int safe. This is a good one because I don't think it has big int, but I think like should be good to catch that. So basically, when you want to store in the local storage, you need to convert your permission object to the JSON, and the JSON, if it has like begint, it might not be able to convert it properly in the JSON object. So that's why you always like kind of convert the begin to string before like storing it. So kind of good catch, but I don't think we have a begin in the object, hopefully. And then we have a new client where we'll be calling the redeem delegate. We'll be doing the redelegate permission context, ERC20 redeemer caveat, doing a payment payload, and then refetching the payment signature with the refetching payment signature header. And once you have done that, adding like calling the API using like the payment signature and all the things, it will be using the MetaMask security to verify and settle, and then giving back the response that we want. And then it's also having this like silly playful UI connect, grant budget, roast input, speech bubble result. Let's see how it goes. I think it has done pretty good as of now, as with README as well, on how to run and what installment or what variables, environment variables to be done.
What is your current experience on like what are the current blockers, or how you kind of start verifying while he's executing? Are you going through kind of like each file of the folders? Like I'm just trying to also like give insights to like people hearing us, like what would be like some blockers or kind of small verification that you can double check as a senior engineer, right? Like, are you kind of crawling to all the folder, checking the files?
I think the first thing you should after vibe coding is to see if it is working or not. If it is not working, maybe try to understand first like why it is not working, how the structure has been done. If it is working fine for you, I would say like then it's also like go back to the code, see what it is doing, because half of the time you can like improve the whole how they have written the code a lot. And if you're using Cloud Code, you can try to use Simplify, like Simplify skill, and it will launch like 3 different agents for sub agents to do the review for your code base, and will give you proper input on how you can improve the whole thing. So that's also pretty handy. Or you can say, oh, I'm a senior software architect, senior software engineer, review.
Sounds good.
I
Yeah,
think like
the full
know like the basics. I would say that, because if you don't know what is happening, it would be pretty nightmare to debug sometimes.
and maybe we want to start to put our payment address in the env file. What is the env file now asking? Is just the payment and
Yeah, it's asking the light LLM API key. We definitely want to change that, because this is the burn address. So whatever we will paying will be burning, and it's not even a volatile token, so it does not affect anything. It's just losing the money. Right, we have this. I'll be stop sharing my screen to just add the keys. Right.
yes,
Maybe Francesco
yes.
can.
Let me untoggle your screen. Yeah, still remember the time that people were sharing live env files and Infure API keys, everything. Yeah, no, that's very cool. So for people joining, we're just going through the live coding session. We're doing this for the MetaMask Dev Cook-Off. Yeah, the goal is really like to going through some workshops. We previously did one with one-shot API. We did one with on x402 today, and there are a couple of ones are also coming. But the goal really is to kind of like showing also how easy it is to build something, or at least thinking about it. And this is a 1 month long hackathon, and everybody's encouraged to do it, not just individual developers, but actually dApps founders that really want to build and extend the functionality. For example, if you want to build an agent on top of what you have already for your service, You can just leverage different providers like also x402 integration and much more. So yeah, more welcome to do it.
I
Let me
just
know when
don't.
you're ready. Should we do it?
I
Perfect.
am not liking the structure it has taken for the next year's project. Not that I like. Maybe we could have given the context on the next year's project
Yeah.
structuring.
One time I started to giving like mono repos, and was actually working better because he was taking just the structure of the mono repo. But I guess like it's very hard when we have different tech stack to combine. So how come you were saying you don't like the structure? Like what is kind of telling you that it's not good?
I kind of don't keep it this way. I usually have API and then pages and stuff.
Yeah.
Usually now it has like mixed app in the app and then the API, which I don't usually do. And then I keep my server side files in not like together with the front end side files as well. So it's basically what I told earlier. Like if you keep pages and you go with the API route, you keep everything in the API once.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have like recommendation, like doing like more CLI cursor view versus Cloud Code directly?
I like Cloud
Obviously, the
Code,
is
but
yeah, yeah.
I think Cloud Code has like a lot of like context on like how I like my project as well. Since I've been using that a lot. So every time, even if I don't mention, like it will by default go with the next year's and the proper structure because it has already context from the previous um, task. So that's a good thing. Or maybe if you are a developer, you can like if you doing hackathons frequently, you can like have like Cloud Code in the memory that you prefer this, so you don't have to mention like every time. Okay, I'm worrying that it might work, it might not work, not sure. Handle nuke, what is this? Handle nuke, handle forget, handle roast. Okay, handle roast looks pretty. What is handle nuke?
Handle nuke. If you
And
wanna kind of like
what
nuke
is
down the
what?
token, what's
Nuke session plus budget. Oh, okay. So it basically will kill the session and the budget that the permissions that we have given. Forget this budget will basically remove the permission, I assume. So we had to give the permission again. It's doing the same thing. It's removing the permission. The nuke one is removing the permission as well. Plus, what is it doing? Nuke one. That is yeah, clearing the session key as well. So you won't have any context about that. Eh, retry the next year's build. I hope like we have every environment variables in place, right? Completed 8 out of 8. Do you think it will work? And we even forgot to mention to use yarn as I think using the S2 pin install. Let's hope it works. I mean, hope is all we can do in the vibe coding for initial run. Oh, looks pretty good. Not bad in the UI
hmm,
side.
interesting? Oh, this is cool. It reminds me the I don't know, some kind of like old games.
Yeah. So okay, so it's my account was already connected on the local, so it by default fetched it. So it's using MetaMask Connect. We can also see like okay, connect MetaMask with the Fox logo. We need to change the logo to make it more in line with the. So you see like oh I don't wanna use this account. Let's use this account. And this all is happening on the mainnet. We are not doing the test net, but for your hackathon you can do the test net. So we have connected the account. Now we wanna grant a row spot a weekly budget, right? And we wanna give $5 week budget.
Actually, it's a cool
And
UI.
change
Yeah.
not configured and supported networks. Okay. Wow, we hit a issue, and I think I know what is the issue. Maybe
Sometimes I'm also asking to verify with all the buttons and verify all the flow. And he's actually giving me like yeah, it would be cool to actually have an agent that do the verification of the user flows, including the depositing and connecting with MetaMask. That would be actually very cool.
the requested method or account has not been authorized. The request account authorized by the user. Now we need to go back and debug where it is failing. Right now, we need to see. Now the funny thing is, I can ask the agent to also do it. Go and check what is going wrong. But for let's see if something is breaking. Save permission. It's requesting execution permission and it's passing chain ID as base chain ID. Okay. Permission required. Permission required. Okay. It's constant to session account address. Staking token account. I just wanna see which account is connected to. As the data thing can do it here as well. Yeah. Here I'll be requesting permission. Which file page?
Is this like a sign in permission?
Yeah, it's basically not able to get the permission, and we want to figure out why it is happening. So we are just debugging the parameters that are going into the function to understand if something is not connected or not properly um, being handled. So we have the account connected, and it's the same account, right? So that's should be fine. So it has account connected. The chain, we can check the chain also is the page connected, so it should not be an issue, right? And we can
There
set
is
your
debugger. Is there a debugger mode? No, I don't remember. Cursor had something
yes,
around
it has debugger mode.
testing flows. Yeah.
So it says the requested method or account has not been authorized by the user. Something changed here. What?
Hmm. You were already logged in and everything? You already gave permissions?
No, that should not be an issue.
Hmm.
Why is giving unauthorized provider error? Is it not? It's not requesting, and we have wallet connected as well. Let's ask our friend to debug. Hopefully, it will be.
Let's see. I mean,
The one thing I don't like about vibe coding is this, because you don't know what has it written, and it takes time to figure out.
yeah, it's taking longer than actually figure out each. I mean, if it's a permission, should be like in the connector folder, no, or something like that. Yeah, but it's easier to say, right? It's harder to actually like spot the things.
Should ask it to switch to WAGMI V2 and the older SDK. I'm not sure if the
Yeah,
connection issue is like creating it, which is a good thing
I
if
mean,
we.
V2 is V2 more stable right now, or yeah, we should get Shabazz in the. Let's try to see what he's saying on the debugging side. If it doesn't work, like we can switch to V2. We have another like 20 minutes max to before an hard stop.
No, I don't think this is the issue.
What are you saying?
That's meanwhile it tries to figure out. We can also try.
Yeah, I'm going to try. Yeah, this is a classic.
Classic issue of.
UX looks great, but then connectors and permissions are another story.
It's doing the what we do usually, adding.
But did he downgrade to V2?
No, but if it does not work, I'll ask it to downgrade to V2 and the older one. Or maybe this is the issue. Hopefully, it should. Yep, works. So the issue was connection chain had not been passed, and when connecting, it might have not fetched for the base chain ID, and that's why it might be causing the issue. And
Yes.
it's work
So-
or it's not work. No, it's not working. It's just asking for connection again. It's stupid.
Oh, you
E-
just re-asking for. Can you check maybe the console? What is the error or?
No, it's not going there, right? It's basically asking to connect again. It's not going forward. We can switch to, or maybe we can give it a reference like how to request, right? We do have examples. Which version is? I think this is also using Wagmi v3 only. No, it is using MetaMask SDK, right? Might be. So hopefully. I think it might be issue because you have not tested with the latest Connect SDK on the permission sharing, so might not be giving permission, and we are trying to request something that is not priced.
Is a Smart Account Kit and x402 compatible with the V2 version instead, maybe?
Yeah, we support only V2. We don't support the V1 also on the manager. Okay.
I just needed to hydrate a bit. So we're getting there, guys. So if you're listening, the UI yes, looks good. We are trying to see how we can actually enable the permissions here and the functionality. Yeah, that's always the downsides around vibe coding, right? I'm hearing more and more people actually building things from scratch. Yeah, because debugging is definitely like a pain.
Debugging is a pain.
Yeah. Let's say that we were very courageous, also Jordan, to actually try out the V3 MetaMask Connect. Yeah, even though probably there is not the compatibility, but I mean, if we know that, we can also like now proceed with the downgrading to V2. That will be also an option.
Yeah, so
But let's
we
see.
were not aware. Like we didn't try it, so I was not aware if it work or not. But I think if it works with the V2, like the older SDK of the MetaMask like Connect, which was MetaMask SDK, and the Wagmi V3, I think then we know. Okay, so it is switching to the MetaMask SDK, reinstalling, and as we got to know that we need to see what is failing.
Yeah. Lesson learned. Every live coding session, I'm always learning something new.
Reinstalling. Okay, let's see if it reinstall. Reinstall we can also do. So it again came back and said the grant code is otherwise identical to ours, which means like what the agent has already written is the same on how to do it. The only difference is on the MetaMask. It uses MetaMask SDK instead of MetaMask Connect, the newer SDK, and that was the only difference that it got. So
the question from Jordi here: is advanced permission not compatible with Wagmi V3?
it's
Not
it's
yet.
compatible. With V3 Wagmi is compatible. We are using still the Wagmi V3, but we have just downgraded to MetaMask SDK instead of MetaMask Connect EVM for the connector.
So it's purely a connector issue here. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's installing and checking. So there might be changes in the Connect EVM that like on how the permissions are being shared, and we are trying to request an RPC method that is not allowed.
Yeah, this is very brave doing this in front of an audience.
It's fun, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. If you should do more this, like not just for the dev cook-off, like we should definitely do it. Let us know. Also, let us know probably also the topic, right? Because we're super happy also to build something with embedded wallet, something with connector. Just give us also like a tech stack to work with. And if you're like a partner in the audience or an ecosystem player, like reach out. We are more than happy to actually like have those live stream with ecosystem partners.
Now let me update the page miner. Okay, let's see how much of updation it's doing. Okay, so it's adding the switch chain as well. So if we are connecting on a chain and then, but I think it's usually Sense and Unfa does not require you to even connect with wallet. It is by default to able to request the permissions without even connecting. We should have directly done that instead. But since we are requesting via Wagmi basically stops at if the chain ID is not correct on what we are requesting for. So it's also handling now that case that if the chain ID is not correct for what we're requesting, it will first ask to change the chain and then like go forward. What do you think, Francesco? Not one shot, but at least
No, let's see.
it's getting some error, I guess.
Yeah, if it's running in the background and debugging in the background, it makes sense. But I don't understand what error is giving us now. The API reference config?
We can at least run on the 3001 and see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my computer is lagging.
Yeah, longer live streams is getting also the laptop hot. It's not just a spicy coding session. Wait, did you already deploy the new version?
So it's granting, you see. Now we have the
Yes.
permission request.
Okay,
I don't
this we
know.
didn't add it before, right?
This was not happening before. It was giving the error the connection is not like allowed to do that. But now we are getting permission request of 5 USD. And this is the
Wait,
expect time.
can we lower the amount or no?
We can lower the amount. So even if like the best thing about Sense and 1.5 permissions are you can lower the amount.
Yeah.
The in the app we have not allowed that, but if we want, like we can basically say if adjustment falls to true, right?
Mhm.
And let's cancel this first. Do a refresh. And you also need to change this. The connect button is showing twice. So you see now earlier it was not allowed, but now I can update it. So if I don't want to give $5 weekly, I can say zero, let's say $1 daily, right? We giving now $7 a week, and you can also change the start time. We don't want to change that,
Oh, it's a
and you
recurring,
can
eh? Yeah.
expiry as well, like till when the permission is valid. So it's
Yes.
like till 1 month the
Yes.
permission is valid, and you can remove this or you can change the date as well. If you don't want June, let's say
Is this
June.
timing? Is the timing implemented now, or this is part of the permission settings when you implement this?
It's
Like is a standard?
you can by default add it, but
Yeah.
if user wants, they can change it.
Nice. Okay.
And it's, if you see, it's saying that we are giving the USDC token one. We say grant, and then it's confirm. Okay, the permission is given now. You see session account, delegate request, delegation manager. We can either forget this budget or nuke session plus budget. We don't want to do that.
No,
Uh,
let's not nuke it. Yeah. This is great. I like the actually the
oh,
Apurv, the UI looks really fun. Yeah.
we
It's
got
really
internal
cool.
server error.
Yeah. Oh, we got it?
Yeah, no, we got internal server error. So we need to now debug more on what is
Wait,
happening.
why is that happening? What do you get in the output?
Oh, wait, maybe since like it is already running, since it's already running on the background, um, we run it again, and we might have changed the server URL, and the server URL on the front end might be different. So that can be an issue. It should be so this is the client one, right? And the fetch payload application JSON. So roast API path. Let's stop this and run it on the main. Let's see. Fetch roast API path. Let's see if this works.
Okay.
From the origin has been responsible. It's not. We might need to update.
Is it not like an hard refresh? Because we were actually
It's
debugging
not
in the meantime.
we need to update the course headers. It will do it. I think yeah, it's good enough for that.
Sorry, can you repeat? We need to update what? The call errors?
Yeah, so it's basically saying no access control allowed origin header is present in the requested resource.
Ah, okay. In
So
the
it's
meantime, the comment here from Jordan, you wallet connector library going live with MetaMask Connect sometimes next week. Yeah, we are excited about that, and shout out to the team for keeping in shipping things here. We definitely need to bring Shabazz also like on he's the leading developer for Connect, like to do a live coding session on actually on this new library too. Interesting. At least now it's another problem. Like we are actually deeper in the flow.
sometimes I feel like it.
Yeah, the font is so big right now. It's hard to actually visualize things. And we're actually with Opus 4.7. I would wonder how to build this, how it will work with a codex or something to see the difference. I find sometimes Opus for also the front end side is actually much more reliable, but codex is actually quicker. But yeah, I don't know if you have experience on that.
Yeah, I think it's because like we are using the high thinking mode. It's taking longer. If you don't use the high thinking mode, it will be relatively faster.
That makes sense. Yes.
And okay, we were doing pay and roast, right? And pay and roast, what happens? Oh, it's not using x402 client.
It's not using x402 for the payment part.
Yes, it's not. So we need.
So what? Wait, how is doing the payment then?
It's
What is
basically
actually
trying
what's the
to
library
it's
being used?
trying to hit the API, get the payment requirements, then use the payment requirements to create the payment load, and then basically do the like again to hit the API once the payment payload is created. So we have an SDK MetaMask X402, right, and that handles basically everything on how it should be done. How it should be done. So not sure why I did that. So let's see. If not, we will give the context again to update it.
We might want to check the x402 guidelines for the payments side, right, and give the context. But we gave context, right, already. We took actually the MetaMask x402 docs page
It's
with the
failing
standard.
because no supported payment kinds loaded from the facilitator, right? So let's hit the facilitator API to see if we are getting that first.
You wanna see the response
Yeah, from the
from the
facilitator.
facilitator side?
Yes,
So
because if
which
it's
facilitator
trying
is
to
being
get
run?
the MetaMask one, but
Yeah,
if it is not giving that information back, it might be doing a hard check out and hard check on that, and basically
yeah, yeah.
throwing the error that okay, we don't support that.
We could also like switch facilitator too, right? Worst case.
So it does not have, if you see, it does not has kinds and signers, right? And it is checking for that. So we just need to tell it to okay, don't check.
Oh, do you wanna check it? Do you wanna show it again how you checked for the API returned? I think
So
it's super cool for people to see.
there is a path supported, right?
Yes,
We basically hit the supported one. If we see the base one, right, the Sapolia one,
yes.
will have response back, and basically it is trying to check that. So it
And you
has
get a return.
right. So asset
Yes,
transfer method supported, right? What is
yes.
required, and this is the signers, which basically we can restrict on the redeemers since we don't have that. Plus, like what methods are supported, it is trying to check that and throwing the error. If we see this is the no supported payment kinds loaded from the facilitator, so it's basically failing on that.
Nice. Yeah, it's failing and it's giving you the a quick wrong output. Okay, so that's actually cool. And this is not just a debugging session; it's like a learning
I
for
think we
everyone session.
need to base Sapolia then, or maybe not.
Right now, what are we using?
We are using base, but base one is not returning the information back in the supported one, and that's what is causing the issue. So we might change it from the base
Yes.
to base Sapolia.
So we're going testnet, huh?
Yeah, we want to do on the mainnet, but
No, it's fine. It's fine. Let's just. I think yeah. So there is no need to change facilitator at this point.
it will change. Oh wait, I need to check if I have the funds, or maybe change to
Let
base.
me check. I can. Let me check if I have some Sepolia.
Yeah.
I just saw Jesse also like answering the tweet, so we can get the can get some Sepolia. Someone from our team is also like a base Sepolia whale, but yeah, this is why I like those live stream, because it keep us like crashing things, learning things, and building things live in front of everyone.
I hope we are just not running out of time.
Yeah, it's worth. It's worth.
Almost there. I think I just need bait Sapolia faucet just because of like upgrading it. But I have mainnet funds. Why do I need on Ethereum wallet always? It's annoying sometimes. I'm checking here every account that I have to see if I have. Okay, I have base Sapolia. Let's go.
Oh,
Now
let's go. Do you use the faucet right now, or you had it before?
I had before. Uh, Circle faucet
Those ETH
request.
global hackathon were worth our time.
Okay, we have USDC as well. So
Yep.
once the code has been changed, we can.
You used the circle bridge, huh? Nice.
I just didn't like that it on the buyer side it has not used the MetaMask x402 package. I can tell it to use it, but it will take again like time for it to change, and we are already little bit on the edge.
Okay, okay. Nice, nice. And actually, on this topic, if you guys are coming also to ETHConf or ETH Global New York, or like New York Tech Week, we're also having a full panel on agent guardrails and x402. And we will have also like Lincoln, one of the co-founder initiator. And yeah, it would be great to actually like speak about agentic A2A payments. So yeah, just come say hi. I think it will be a great and everybody's welcome. Not just individual builder everywhere, dApps founders and people that want to kind of like build this ecosystem further.
And for just information, let's just make sure.
What is happening? Oh, change the facilitator. Oh, is it not automatically changed, you think?
I'm not sure, but I'm just added it like
Where?
sure.
And in the folder where we see the facilitator logic, we probably
So it's already set in the constant to that one. So
in the
that's okay.
constant. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's try on the Sapolia base Sapolia if it works. We restart the servers. So it says now switch to base Sapolia. Okay, switched. We forget this budget. We want to grant a new budget, right? We don't want this. Request
Yes.
permission. So existing permission granted on the base Sapolia testnet. Okay, do it.
So we're
Confirm.
so we are granting the permissions.
Server did
Oof.
not load. Okay, I know like where to fix this.
Oh, is that the redeemer permission?
Yeah, it's in the here. So it does not have facilitators extra. I feel we are almost there.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's been like tons of like debugging experience here. So how do you know there is an enforcer
So
problem?
we
Because
don't have
CTO
the
needs to be
fetches
addressed
coming,
already.
right? We won't be
Yep.
able to add the enforcer. And if we
Uh,
don't ending the enforcer, it's trying to access that value, it will throw the error. So, and that's what it's throwing.
oh, you have a managed update on top on the right. Maybe you wanna take out so we see the full MetaMask there. Yes.
Something is happening. It's taking long.
Wait,
So,
something is happening. Do you want to check the log in the same time? Like I should do like a drum music. I wish Restream is giving us that. This is like an action movie.
some error, but
What is that?
API rose 4 to 1 in 10 milliseconds. Yeah, it's correct, right?
It's correct.
That's why just one last change that I want to say to us to see. Use MetaMask. It returned empty response.
Install x402. What is installing now?
It's
7710 client.
Yeah, it's returning empty response because I didn't wanted it to handle everything by itself. So it is trying to hit the x402 API, get the payment requirements, then like check the payment requirements and everything. But we already have x402 package for that, and it should not do it on its own. I thought it would work out, but I think it's
It's
like
not, huh?
starting to not work out. So I just like gave it docs again and said that okay, use what we have in the package
Yes.
and not do something of your own. Not
Yes.
so it is if you see it is now rewriting to use MetaMask x402 plus x402 client plus x402 fetch, right? This is the ideal
Yes.
way to do it where the fetch one already handles everything of payment requirements and stuff. So you don't need to worry about these things. And it will remove a lot of code. So if you see the code have been removed 130, we don't need types as well because types are already included there. So
Oh, that's actually cool. Yeah, we're cleaning up.
yeah, cleaning up before we even got it to work. Okay, so it says
It's fine. It's fine. I mean, we don't get the server ID, right? What is the error that we're getting now?
okay, we are waiting for the response. It's in the flight mode.
It's in flight. Like our
I think it might also be that the light LLM is not giving anything back
is do we have another like comparable
because
LMS?
the payment like it got the payment requirement back right in the headers.
Yes.
If we
Yes.
see it has get the payment requirement base 64, it basically decoded that. It created another x402 payment requirement with the payment signature using the decoded payment signature to
Yes.
create redelegation and stuff. It sent it back, and right now it is in the flight mode, right? So the API response has not been completed. So that means that it is going to server properly, but server is not able to maybe generate the response, and it's returning this. And
Interesting.
for that, we can check uh, change. Maybe we can just say that server does not need to send what to say.
is recognizing Pepe like the token itself, right?
Yeah, it's doing all the other things, but I think it is failing here. So what we can try to do is, okay, the roast token one, we can go here and maybe add console log, see completion, and we will get uh, to know whether it is like this issue or some other issue, right? Like what is the
Interesting. Yeah.
something wrong? And if you know that this is the issue, we have debugged what is the cause of why it is not returning, and we will have to restart the server again because we
I think
changed
that's
the
fine. Yeah.
server.
Yeah. Also, fun fact, Ayush, like literally 4 minutes ago, Anthropic released 4.8. I don't know if we're able to change already in the console, but no, it's still not yet there. I think we should restart a cursor, but I don't know if it's relative. But let's see. But
Okay,
if you
so
are doing a typo in Pepe, is actually like getting the token itself? I'm just curious.
so again, like went to the API, right? Now roosting Pepe token, we have got the response back, the completion, uh, and what is the completion? Okay, it got completion back, right? So created completion roosting Pepe token. What is the completion dot choices, right? And it has message object as well. So it should not be an issue. We can debug this. So roast token has been done. It got response. Is this not sending response or what now?
It's not sent before, was it, right?
So we can check your roasting token Pepe getting the response.
Hmm.
Okay, Pepe, we got the response as well. Pepe is what happens when a
Wait,
million
what?
dungeon.
Did I miss the response?
So this is working. This
Yeah.
next.js response.json, right? This is not working.
Can we take out the response part? No, we need it, right?
No, the response is not working. And this is being called from the x402 server, which is here, and it is has this handler, facilitator, and every time this handler is being called, it will use that one. Okay, should work now. This one, right? And oh, there is one other issue can also be there, which we can check. The pay fetch payment bill. Okay, this is fine. So should be So it says that's the facilitator call hanging or failing, and it's checking if it is working fine or not. I think we can give 5 or 10 minutes more. If not, maybe I'll just debug and maybe push it on a repo and record a demo.
You are in a fully Sherlock Holmes debugging mode. Yeah, but I mean, we already got the majority of the build. We had three main debugging parts, right? The first part, the second, the grand and caveat enforcer one. Then we kind of find out the last one was the server crash, right? On
So
the host token.
So if we see, once we got the 402, we build the payload, we send it back, and we are still getting 402. So that means either the verification part or settlement part is failing, or like
What is actually cursor reasoning telling us? Like instead actually trying to debug directly, is it
just
giving
trying to
us some
hit the APS directly and see if the facilitator URL is working fine or not.
Mhm.
So it is adding the settlement endpoint actually returning. So we can have more issues, like more information on what is the issue is. And once we have like the response logging for the facilitator, we will be able to figure out.
That's why, okay. Hmm.
Okay, let's try to run it again and
Are you
see.
restarting?
Yeah, so we'll see what are the issues we are getting, where it is failing. Slow sting puppet token. It got the roast response, and I feel now it is trying to hit the settlement, and it will get the issue if it is there. And it's taking like around a lot of like time to even fail, so something might be going wrong.
So what will be like options like for people hearing us? Like, are we going in like? Is there like a debugging mode for testing user flow on
Yeah, we're
Cursor?
testing the user flow, like testing the user flow now. Why the server is not able to fulfill the request, and so everything is working fine apart from like the facilitator is not able to do the settlement. Might be we might be sending something wrong,
Hmm.
some
But wait,
parameter.
what if we're just changing the facilitator directly?
No, we cannot, right? So see, it says like the facilitator settle failed. So settlement is failing apparently, and it does not have an issue or body preview. So
Yeah.
not sure like what is the issue here now, because verification was passed, right? So there is no
Yes.
issue in the verification, and since verification passed, it's not the delegation is doing something wrong. It's like it does not has information as well.
Hmm. I mean, the settlement is the best part, right? If the first multiple parts actually
Yeah,
worked.
the verification also works. So like the payment response that we're sending should be correct on what we are doing. And I just wanna do one last check while creating redelegation if you're doing something.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, redelegation is open and we don't have any redeem info, so that's also good. And we have payment requirements and everything is fine here.
Mhm.
I can ask it to change it to like base mainnet.
But wait, do you think if it's a facilitator things, how this will change? If the settlement is not being done, what I mean,
Right?
I
Like
will assume the settlement
we need
on
to,
base volume is same, right?
yeah, and we need to check like why the settlement is failing and not the verification. Because if the payment payload we are sending is not correct, the verification part would also fail, not the settlement only. So
Mm.
so if you see it says like the settlement path is failing. Now what do you wanna do? Maybe we can like stop it here, or maybe we can like
Yeah,
I can
we
like
really
go
have an
back.
hard stop, but
Yeah.
in 10, and we need to do also like a quick break after 2 hours of live stream. I mean, what will be like the next steps in terms of like debugging here? Like either change the facilitator. I don't know how base mainnet will be. I mean, how this will change, right? The settlement side, but we can try
Last
as
try.
less tests. Is it like the amount a possibility? Because the amount
No,
is too
because
high.
we have the amount, right? Like the amount should not be an issue.
And wait, are we sponsoring? Are we doing sponsor transactions? Yeah, right.
So
It's not.
facilitator, so the transaction needs to be like the transaction will be redeemed by the facilitator, so it needs to have
Okay.
money. So it's facilitator who will be basically redeeming the
Yep.
delegation. So no need to have like money on the front end. And my account is already upgraded to like 7702, so that should not be an issue as well. If it would have been issue, like it would have failed on the like what do you say?
The delegation side.
Um, okay, maybe I know the issue now.
Tell us. Tell us. Is it? Wait.
Wha-
Why are we reverting?
I think I know issue.
This is
I,
like a rogue vibe coding.
yeah, I think I figured out the issue why it is failing.
Is it on the settlement side, right?
Yeah, I think the settlement side is failing because we might be doing something very stupid, and that I
Oof.
got to know right now when I checked the accounts properly.
So it's on the wallet side or on the
On the on the front end side, I would say.
front end side. This is really like
And
Sherlock
it's
Holmes.
funny like why verification was not an issue, because verification should have failed as well. But let's go. Let's do first thing. Disconnect. We do connect.
Oh, we didn't
I'm not
reconnect and
sure.
disconnect with a
No,
fresh session.
I think like we might be on the wrong wallet when we are doing it, when we granted the permission, right? And
So we didn't start completely from scratch. So we are on the.
ish.
But let's
I
check it
don't
out. The
think
name.
so as well, because the delegator is also
Yes.
right. So I don't think it should work, but If it doesn't like me, we can stop and I can go back and like debug it more. Okay, so it returned very quickly. What it
Oh,
didn't like.
wait. We are in a. So what is 0? Is null, right? Settlement decoded null.
I think we can like go back. I can like debug it more and share it from the MetaMask dev handle or demo.
Yeah, no, we can share it more. I think it's good, but at least like we kind of like finalized like also the last part with like restarting completely from the permission side.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's good. Wait, in the meantime, I will share quickly my screen. Give me 2 sec. So what we see today, right? So we kind of like vibe coded this permission requirement payments with x402. One thing to say is that is for the MetaMask Dev Cookoff specifically on the x402 side. Here are the full kind of like track, right? Both on the x402 side and 7710, 3K, best agent 3K. So you can target multiples. I think like also try to actually like get acquainted to different tech stack, like the one from One Shot API, the one from Venice AI, and yeah, just document everything. Like, and I think like also like our doors are always open, so make sure you just come and say hi if you have any problems. We're here to support both on the Telegram developer or just the MetaMask developer handle. And yeah, I think that's a little bit it. We are 2 weeks in, right? So we have another 2 weeks at least that you can run. Please don't arrive the last couple of like days
You
or the
never
next
know
couple of hours.
when vibe coding can bring you in the debugging issues mode and you might cannot
Yes.
find.
It's also positive, right? We just did Sherlock Holmes debugging. I think like we were quite successful in the first and second debugging part. We also solved the redeemable, the permission, the connector wallet on the WAGMI and MetaMask Connect side. So I think was a quite learning scenario. We will just follow up with the last part, but basically, I mean, the UX was not just fun but also like quite amazing. I was not expecting that in less than 2 hours. Yeah, and let's get some hydration happening later. That was a long live stream, and thanks for also everyone for just asking question, but most important asking spicy question and comments. Without this chat, definitely like this will be less engaging. We definitely don't want to kind of like speak with each other while vibe coding this. And yeah, if you have also other topics, if you want to build also with x402 with other specific like tech stack, let us know. We're happy also to schedule an ad hoc live stream like this one. And yeah, thanks so much, Ayush, for like keeping up with the pressure with your Sherlock
Oh,
Holmes
I'm
hat.
just disappointed. We wanted it to work.
I mean, we are having our next live stream next week, right? So if we're actually solving, we can kind of like start also with this showing like the run build. So it's just MetaMask Dev Cook-Off that is 1 month. Maybe we can run actually like a multiple part live stream.
Yeah, I think that's good because some maybe you can do that like a multiple live stream where you build a server and then front end, then keep on building on that project on something that is good.
Nice. Yeah, I like the idea. Let's do it. And thanks everybody behind the scene that make this live stream happening. And yeah, everybody, we care about x402 and all the ecosystem partner that we're building with. So it's just exciting to be part of everybody's journey. Awesome, and keep building and yeah, keep trying, keep debugging, and yeah, and looking forward for the next live stream. Thanks everyone, and thanks Ayush.